Always exciting to be at the start of a brand new motorsport season, and the visit here to Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya marks the opening round of the 2024 European Le Mans Series. Some fans track the heritage of this championship back to 2012 when it split away from the World Endurance Championship. Others all the way back to 2004, which therefore would mark the 20-year anniversary of the Le Mans Series / European Le Mans Series, and there is an awful lot of new stuff to work our heads around, not least a brand new GT category, which of course many of you will have already experienced as part of the Qatar 1812 kilometres back in March, but this is the first time in a European-based championship that we witness the LMGT3 category. And it'll be those cars that will be qualifying first, in fact, for 15 minutes. It's Johnny Palmer and Graham Goodwin. Perhaps needless to say at this stage, I'm very excited.
Oh, I'm very excited. Here we have the sort of U-shape, sort of L-shape Iron Dames Porsche. This, of course, the 911 GT3R version of Porsche's iconic shape, rather than the 911 RSR. We used to see them in the World Endurance Championship. This is another team we used to see in the World Endurance Championship, the 86 GR racing car with their spectacularly liveried, brand new Ferrari 296 GT3. And for those that will be following sports car racing action at the Le Mans 24 Hours, delighted to tell you, by the way, that everything orange on there is reflective, which means the TV pictures and any photographs of that car are going to look absolutely amazing. Another new 296, this time in the hands of Spirit of Race, one of the AF Corsa satellite teams, and Duncan Cameron's effort with David Perel and with Matt Griffin, of course. 51, a famous number, and the Le Mans winning number, of course, for Ferrari last season. 499p hypercar, but this time aboard one of the 296s. The 97 car, pink mirrors. Most of this car was pink at the start of the week. We'll go through the travails of the Aston Martins of the last few days, but delighted to say that the Grid Motorsport by TF effort is literally back on track, not with the car nor the colour they expected. This is the number 50 car, Formula Racing from Denmark, with their, you call it burgundy colour, different. It's a foil finish on this car. They were slightly disappointed with the way this colour looked on track last year. They tried something different. Sunlight does make a big difference with these cars, but yet another 296. It's 11 LMGT3 cars. What is LMGT3, I hear you asking, Johnny?
What is LMGT3, Graham Goodwin?
You could always predict it, couldn't you? Yeah. And the answer is GT3 spec cars. The principal difference with LMGT3 is about how the performance of these cars is monitored to ensure that the balance between the cars that allows us to have such varied grids in GT racing nowadays is measured. And the big difference with LMGT3 is that that can be measured in real time, including this fabulous green Lamborghini from Iron Lynx, Rossi Hamaguchi, gentleman driver who in years past used to pedal both Lamborghini and McLaren efforts in the Michelin Le Mans Cup, and in fact in the first year of the GT3 Le Mans Cup. Proton competition with a very Iron Lynx looking driver squad. Great looking livery on this, the orange and black from Proton, Claudio Schiavone behind that. Another gentleman driver we've been used to seeing around the world with yet another Ferrari 296. You can see the bright yellow car guy, car from Kessel Racing from Switzerland, one of the largest and most prevalent of the Ferrari customer teams. That car will be the first out on the track. Johnny, as always, with the GT3 class in the European Le Mans Series, it will be the gentlemen and lady drivers at the wheel of these cars. And they're about to get this session rolling. Rahel Fry there, driver for the team in the European Le Mans Series, and also very much part of the programme management team of the Iron Dames, which is covering all sorts of activities, including the career of Darian Pan, as she kind of lifts off the LMGT3 effort with Lamborghini in the WC, the Porsche effort here in the European Le Mans Series, the Lamborghini effort in the Michelin Le Mans Cup with Iron Dames, karting, Rally 2 and equestrian now as well. And that's a bit of a concern. That is the Racing Spirit Le Mans at Aston Martin in the garage, Johnny.
Valentin Haas-Clos in the background on the radio to what should be Derek de Boer doing qualifying, the American, because it's a bronze-only session. The other change year on year, because we're now LMGT3, is that there's no intermediate tyre in this category anymore.
15 seconds.
We waved goodbye to Inters in LMP2 a couple of seasons ago.
Qualifying session will start in 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. LMGT3 qualifying has started. Again, remind drivers the need to respect track limits. Any lap which is reported or that we note that it's done beyond the track limits within the possibilities will be immediately deleted.
Marginal delay to the start of the session, I think only by about a minute, but I don't know the reasons for that. But anyway, we are underway now, and unfortunately that doesn't help out Racing Spirit of Le Mans, which the car is still in the garage and maybe unable to start. Certainly some concerned looks from Valentin Haas-Clos.
That was my concern with it. He did not look relaxed, did he?
But they need to be on the apron by a certain time,
Indeed.
don't they? So that you can't just suddenly roll the car out of the garage. I think they're out of the session completely.
Not sure that's the... We'll wait and see. But while we're watching these warm-up laps from the first cars to come out, let's go through who we're going to see. It'll be Johnny Larison in the number 50 Formula Racing car. That's the burgundy-coloured Ferrari we talked about earlier. It'll be Charles-Henri Charlie Samani in the number 51 AF Corsa car. That's the car with a Breton flag livery. Spirit of Races 55 will be in the hands of Duncan Cameron. Takeshi Kimura is already out there in the 57 Kessel Racing car. That's the car guy livery, bright yellow car. Racing Spirit of Le Mans, we should see Derek de Boer, the American driver, but that's it, is in some doubt, the 59 Aston Martin. Proton Competitions number 60 is unusually not a Lamborghini, it's a Porsche, and unusually it's not bright yellow. But Claudio Schiavone it should be. Hiroshi Hamaguchi is a Lamborghini for Iron Lynx, the 63 car. Schiavone leaves the pit lane as I speak. John Hartshorn will be aboard the number 66 JMW Motorsport car, another Ferrari, and that tale continues for Jim McWhirter and his plucky squad. Sarah Bovey will be in the 85 Iron Dames Porsche. Mike Wainwright in his brand new GR Racing number 86 Ferrari. In the Grid Motorsport by TF Aston Martin will be in the hands of Martin Berry as they start to kick this off. That was the Racing Spirit Le Mans car just leaving. So I think they've got that car out. Let me tell you a tale of Aston Martins as these cars go on to their first flying laps. LMGT3, brand new formula. Lots of challenges for a lot of people involved in the supply chain here. In addition to which, brand new Aston Martin this year, the GT3, that they're not calling an Evo, but it's based around the 2024 version of the Vantage. Substantially different bodywork, electronics, you name it, there's big changes, and that has caused some issues. Both the cars here needed to be converted to LMGT3 pretty late. The number 59 car we've just seen leaving pit lane, that car raced last weekend as a GT3, not an LMGT3, and the GT World Challenger was converted here. The 97 car, which was bright pink at the start of this week, also had its conversion completed here, but then suffered a very substantial off, which has damaged the chassis beyond repair, certainly here, and that car was replaced with a car that arrived here on Thursday. Rather remarkably, both of them coming from the same team, Competier Racing, based in Belgium. But we've got both cars here. They both look absolutely fantastic. When you do see the pink version of the 97, boy does that pop, as do the very pink driver overalls for all three drivers in that car. And Johnny Palmer, we've now explained the machinations of what's happened to Aston Martin. For the remaining 11.5 minutes, we can talk about pace.
The only other thing that I wanted to fill in, who was driving the 97 when it had his big
Martin
off?
Berry.
Martin Berry, and he was okay?
He was fine, absolutely fine.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's testament to how they build the Aston Martins, I suppose, both back at the factory and in the case of TF and Grid Motorsports. The car, unfortunately, was not okay and has had to effectively be replaced. You can burn through as many tyres as you wish during all of the sessions of an ELMS weekend if you're in LMGT3. There is no limit to Goodyear Eagle tyres, as I say. And there are in fact two compounds that Goodyear will determine which of the two we're going to be using each particular weekend. You would imagine this is going to be a relatively hard compound tyre for the heat that we're going to have to run, and a relatively abrasive track as well.
I can explain. And hearing from Steph Wentworth, there's been a quick tyre change for the Iron Dames. Explain, thanks to the intervention of my colleague, the news editor of Daily Sports Guy. Really should try it, it's very good. Stephen Kilby tells me the reason for the late addition to the session from the number 59 car was a stop and hold of a minute for crossing the white line on FP2. So it was a penalty, which is the reason why that car was not out on the apron.
So there was no concern, even though we saw some from Valentin Haskell. In fact, the radio messages were just to Derek de Boer to take it easy, and not actually a strict deadline to get the car out on the apron. You can, as long as, I suppose, you don't drive the car out of the garage, it will have come out on the dolly jacks and been rotated around, then lowered, and then been sent into the session. So the early times are coming through for this bronze-only session. I notice Takeshi Kimura is back in the pit lane in the 57 Kessel Racing car, despite having just set the best time so far, a 1:42.895 from the Japanese driver. It's half a second clear, therefore, of Martin Berry in a brand new Aston Martin for him this weekend, the number 97. Third fastest is Johnny Lawson in his Formula Racing Ferrari 296 LMGT3, ahead of Charlie Samani for AF Corsa, number 51, and Duncan Cameron there in the green and white. It's been reworked, that livery that I think he initially designed many years ago. And the green and white of Spirit of Race resplendent now on a 296 LMGT3 for 2024.
Yeah, it is a tyre change for Takeshi Kimura. Heard it from Steph and watched it on the monitor as well. So Takeshi Kimura it is that leads this session by 0.2 of a second from Mike Wainwright, pops up into second slot, but there is time still to come, 8.5 minutes to go. Quick time underway here from Johnny Lawson in the number 50 car. Ferrari, Aston Martin Berry in the 97 car, then three more Ferraris are the top six right now.
Not seeing any times so far from Sarah Bovey, but she may be keeping her powder dry. The 85's been in and out of the pits a little while. She has the luxury, if you like, of being able to almost post a time whenever she wishes. You saw that on several occasions last year in the World Endurance Championship qualifying. She and Ben Keating going hard at it on a Saturday or sometimes Friday qualifying in the case of Spa. So there's no immediate concern for this car. You can hear in the background. So it's the flat six for the Porsche 911 GT3R LMGT3. And this is looking more like it. A 30.3 through the first sector. And we wait to see about the middle sector.
Meantime, Johnny Lawson goes to the top of Tomming scoring. He's 42.3, so 142.3 for the Dane in the all-Danish crewed Formula Racing number 50 car. Long family association with Nicholas Nielsen, who shares that car with him. Personal sponsor to Nicholas through his early career. Johnny Lawson, and it's another dad and lad, father and son effort with Conrad Lawson as well. It's the all-Danish squad. Lawson going quicker again here. Hiroshi Hamaguchi also on a good lap in the Lamborghini. Sits ninth at the moment, goes second. And goes second by 0.2 of a second. Sarabovi pops up into third, just behind. A couple of tenths back from Hamaguchi. And 0.4 back from Johnny Lawson, who's coming to complete the lap now. May improve, he's on the bubble here. He does by just a handful of thousandths of a second. He's 0.3 of the good over Hamaguchi. He is 0.5 of the good over Sarabovi. It is Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche, and then another Ferrari.
So a nice mixture of manufacturers. The one we're missing is an Aston Martin, and that actually drops a spot as through goes Duncan Cameron. Cameron now running fourth fastest in the 55 Spirit of Race car. Claudia Schiavone improved on that lap as well, as now the Martin Berry driven Aston Martin from Grid Motorsport is into pit lane. So that could well be for a tyre change as well. We're beyond the half distance marker of the 15 minutes of this session, but there is no limitation to tyres. They're in a very luxurious position, the GT runners, because of that. And Goodyear Eagles lightly scrubbed and prepared for qualifying, being bolted onto all four corners of this Aston Martin Vantage.
It's an unusual era at the moment with LMGT3. This is Grid Motorsport by TF, carrying on with an Aston Martin for this programme. Of course, running the Corvettes in the WEC. Proton competition, meanwhile, running Porsches here and Mustangs elsewhere. So all sorts of irons in all sorts of fires, and here's one of them. It's the Iron Dames in this particular fire. Hiroshi Hamaguchi has gone quickest, by the way, to 1:42.1. Sarabovi, though, goes to the top, and is the first driver under 1:42. It's a 1:41.953. That time deleted, I think that is for Johnny Lawson. But all of a sudden we're getting blue and purple sectors, including, by the way, from the slowest car at the moment, Derek De Boer, going quicker and looking to get in this fight in the number 59 Racing Spirit Le Mans car.
Yeah, so the 50 car, you're quite right, Johnny Lawson maybe overcooking things into turn 10. Duncan Cameron's found another good time. It's a 1:42.7, keeps him fourth. Bovey fastest by 0.2 of a second over Hamaguchi's Lamborghini. So Bovey, remember we were in the scenario where the other Iron Dames car in the paddock this weekend is a Lambo, but they're racing Porsches in LMGT3, and we welcome back the three most synonymous names with the Iron Dames, really. Sarah Bovey as the bronze, Rahel Frey we caught sight of before the session as the silver, and Michelle Gatting as the gold. As the other Aston Martin in the field, car 59 crosses the line now. Derek De Boer will climb 2 places from 11th to 9th fastest. And that drops a former Aston Martin driver, John Hartzell, now down to 11th in his Ferrari 296 from JMW Motorsport.
Yeah, lots of drivers getting used to lots of new cars for them. Bovey, meanwhile, going quick again. It was a purple first sector for the Belgian driver. Comes right round now, is up on her provisional pole time and improves it. It's now a 1:41.8. She's got 0.3 of a second now on Hiroshi Hamaguchi. Johnny Lawson, meanwhile, not looking up to speed there.
I think he's just trying to buy himself a bit of track time, although there was nobody really in front of him. Just taking it easy through turn 13 before then really hammering the throttle out of 14. Looks to be there or thereabouts now, as Lawson then heading further around the lap.
Yeah.
So, sorry, GR Racing car. So Lawson's time, and then Mike Wainwright in a GR Racing car, which is no longer a Porsche either. This now a Ferrari, but adopting a very similar livery to GR Racing cars of the past.
More orange. I think you never do wrong with just applying more orange to livery.
Yeah.
But, meanwhile, there has been an improvement from Duncan Cameron. He stays fourth, though. It's another purple sector from Sarah Bovey in sector 1. So she's looking to... Is that Derek De Boer recovering?
He's been off.
Yeah.
So this happened at turn 12.
Yeah, lost the rear of the car.
And the back presumably dropping into the gravel trap. I did see gravel falling away from that very large diffuser on the Aston Martin.
He was lucky to get away with that, wasn't he? Hamaguchi's been around as well in the Aston Martin, the Lamborghini. So all of that takes pressure off Sarah Bovey. We've got under 2 minutes to go.
Jumped over the curbs, Hamaguchi. That really unsettled the Lamborghini. It's chewed through, particularly the rear tyres as well. And that happened, I think, just in front of Sarah Bovey, who needed to adjust her line very slightly. Absolute best through the first sector, having to get out of the throttle through the middle sector, and that also bled then into the final sector because of that incident for Hiroshi Hamaguchi. But she's comfortable at this stage, 0.3 of a second clear of the Japanese driver for Iron Lynx.
Improvement from Martin Berry in that 97 Grid Motorsport by TF Aston Martin. He's 7th. Mike Wainwright is on pit lane, and that is the end of his session. He will do no better than 6th. But we've got cars improving around him. He might not end up as 6th. Takeshi Kimura is already 5th and has put in the fastest first sector of his run, as does Martin Berry, and his is quicker than Kimura. So there is time to be found here. Schiavone puts in his quickest time He extends the gap he's got to John Hartshaw, 10th to 11th.
Lawson, Cameron, Kimura, Wainwright, 4 Ferrari 296s all lined up, but none of them are on the front row at this stage. 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th, then the best of the Aston Martins in the hands of Martin Berry, 7th. 59 car is getting faster, but needs to do so at a higher rate of knots. There is the brand new car for this weekend. I was about to say rebuilt 97, but not really, because they had to source a brand new chassis.
That was track limits
different
there.
Chassis.
Yep, that's track limits there for Martin Berry, no doubt whatsoever about that.
And yet to be confirmed, but I agree with you.
Sarah Bovey, meanwhile, is up on her previous pole time, having not bettered her time in either Sector 1 or Sector 2.
Checker flag out. 2 laps deleted for Duncan Cameron. His 6th and 7th tours, but still good enough to give him 4th position are those laps that are retained.
So Sarah Bovey sees the checkered flag. That's her run done. At the moment, 3/10 to the good. Nobody around her looking as if there's going to be a threat there. So smiles galore in the Iron Dames pit.
Michelle Gatting closest to camera. Rahel Fry the most distant on the other end of the engineers table. They're not celebrating yet. Rahel wants them to.
Yeah.
Are they going a bit too early? Well, the immediate threat of Hiroshi Hamaguchi is already in the pit lane.
Indeed.
Johnny Lawson's not really there or thereabouts, and it had to happen on this lap.
Kimura's
and now
off.
the car guy Ferrari of Takeshi Kimura has rather innocuously gone off into the gravel. He didn't seem to be going at any great speed, but that might have been hard onto the brakes. No, he was going faster than I thought.
There was another car in and around where he was at the time. Now, what happened here?
This is well after it now. This is the recovery.
So it is going to be Sarah Bovey on pole position for the first round of the 2024 European Le Mans Series. Iron Dames again putting another little chapter in their history book, and the history book of sports car racing, turning heads as they go for performance. A win in the European Le Mans Series, a win last year, famous win in the final GTE race ever for Porsche. And what about a result in the first LMGT3 race in the European Le Mans Series? That would be quite something, wouldn't it, Johnny? 3 wins in what would be 3 different cars.
It's a tremendous effort, and we almost come to expect this now from Sarah Bovey. Yes, she's a bronze-rated driver, but the ability to be able to, as I say, just sort of turn on the speed whenever she wishes to do so, and done exactly that. So returning to the championship and kind of continuing where that team left off. The last pole position for that particular crew, I'm just tracking back through the archives, give me a moment and we'll work it out, but it's certainly not, I don't think they're the first pole position for the Iron Dames in the ELMS.
I'd have to check. It's a good question. I don't think it is.
No, I don't. I think Sarah's had success. They've certainly managed to take victories. 2022, Steph Wentworth reckons. They weren't called Iron Dames. That's what's confusing me. But I reckon the 83 Iron Lynx car took pole and the win. So the win you were talking about as the final race of the 2022 season at Portimão was a pole position as well. And that will have been for Sarah, because we had the rules in place there where the bronze had to qualify the car. So yeah, the outgoing season was 2022. We welcomed them back in 2024, and they've done exactly the same thing, bookending therefore their year out when they headed into the World Endurance Championship for 2023.
Well, I mean, we're going to get to see and hear from Steph Wentworth very shortly, but if you enjoyed the LMGT3's start to the season, still 2 more sessions to come.
So Sarah Bovey's done all the business on the track. Her teammate is Michelle Gatting, and now having a quick word with Steph.
I'm joined by Michelle Gatting of the Iron Dames. Congratulations, you're on pole position on your return to ELMS. How good does it feel?
It's a good start of the season, let's put it like that. The race is tomorrow, so the first job is done by Sarah. And then we see, it's 4 hours to fight tomorrow. We know it will not be easy with the Ferraris, they're very fast. But let's say we can tick the first box.
And what are your expectations when it comes to the race? Are you looking to get on the podium? Is a win on the cards?
We only drive to win, so it's very simple. and nothing else really matters for us. We are here to try and win the championship, and of course to win the first race of the season. But again, we respect the competition. We know there are some fast drivers out there, some fast cars, so it's not going to be easy, but we don't want easy. We like a challenge. I mean, like I said, we respect the competition, but we are here to win.
All right, best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very simple message, as it usually is, from Michelle Gatting. And as she said, we're not going to celebrate too early because we haven't even reached race day yet. But Sarah Bovey, last time she did it, it was in a Ferrari. This time in a Porsche for Iron Dames. The 85 crew getting a 1:41.850 and outpacing the rest of the competition by 0.3 of a second. Hiroshi Hamaguchi, despite the late spin, puts the Lamborghini then into second spot ahead of Johnny Lawson's Formula Racing Ferrari 296.9 of a second adrift. Duncan Cameron with some laps deleted, but he holds on to fourth. And there are two more Ferraris on row 3 of the LMGT3 grid. Takeshi Kimura's Kessel Racing example, despite that significant off for the Japanese just before the checkered flag. And Mike Wainwright, a new car for GR Racing, but the pace may well be there in the number 86. He's qualified that in 6th spot.
There you go. It does, however, mean another little bit of history. It is the first time that the Iron Dames have led a championship.
Yeah, okay. With a point.
With the points.
You get a point, and they will lead overnight.
They will indeed.
Into the first race day of the season. Again, you know, that will only go so far to impress Michelle Gatting and probably Sarah Bovey.
She will dismiss that utterly.
I have a feeling she might, but if they lead by a point come October, November, might be a different expression on her face by that point, and you can win and lose championships quite clearly by a point, sometimes by half a point. So they'll be grateful for any that they can collect along the way. They are a massive threat for the race victory here at Barcelona, clearly, with great race prep behind that Porsche 911 GT3R and terrific consistency across all three drivers as well.
So LMP3 next. It is going to be a nice round 10 of those. It's 8 single car teams and 1 two-car team. We're looking at, in fact, just the rear end of one of them and the whole of the other. It's the RLR M Sport crew that are the only two-car team in the LMP3 class of the European Le Mans Series this year. This is the Racing Spirit Le Mans number 31. So DKR Engineering with one of 2 Ducanes. The other is by the WTM by Rinaldi crew. RLR M Sport with the 2. Team Virage, Euro International. Cool Racing, Racing Spirit Le Mans we've seen. There's Virage's car, number 8. The Ultimates 35 and Inter Europol's number 88 car.
Different tyre manufacturer we're thinking about here as well. Michelin's the stock provider of tyres across LMP3. And the other interesting thing for me is that although you can use as many Goodyear tyres as you want in an LMGT3, in this, actually your tyre allocation spans all the sessions. That's from free practice 1 to the end of the race, and we've seen a number of teams only doing the bare minimum of running during free practice. You have to effectively free practice / qualify your drivers, and certainly WTM last year learnt that to their cost because they actually hadn't qualified. I think it was Torsten Kratz on that occasion. He'd not run in free practice at all, and that was discovered, whether that be a team error or something to do with their strategy, but nevertheless they weren't permitted to race in that particular affair last year. But a number of other teams have done limited mileage in free practice. Perhaps the priority has been to conserve tyres.
Indeed, this is absolutely definitely the case in the case of 1 or 2 of these teams. There's 1 or 2 teams that regularly do that. So there we have the pair of RLR cars. That is the number 12 car, the repeated and excellent livery on the WTM by Rinaldi racing car. Torsten Kratz, Leo Weiss and Oscar Coutinho this year, their trio. A very different shape of LMP3 car as the Spanish crowd enjoy both the sunshine and the view. I think that's the building above the new media centre.
LMP3 qualifying
Great
will
view from up
start
there.
in 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. LMP3 qualifying has started. Please remind drivers they need to respect track limits.
Now this is not restricted by driver, so it's not a bronze-only session, although remember that very few teams, in fact no teams, have decided to utilise a gold, because that can complicate driver combinations. You have to have a bronze, and then the rest of your driver entry can be silver, but it's not stipulated in the regulations as to which driver you have to use in qualifying, and very entertaining throughout as the silvers get faster and faster.
Let's call them as they've come out. The number 88 Inter Europol car is in the hands of Kayaski. Mathieu Lahaye is aboard the 35 Ultimate car. Racing Spirit from Le Mans, they field aboard the number 31 car, Antoine Ducas. Manuel Espirito Santo is aboard the championship defending 17 Cool Racing car. The 4 DKR Engineering Duquesne is in the hands of Wyatt Bricacek. Bailey Voisin is aboard the number 5 LR M Sport car, returning to LMP3 after a couple of seasons away. Adam Ali is in the Euro International number 11 car. That's this car, in fact, the deep blue with red, orangey red trim, and we're waiting to see who will emerge in the number 18 Virage car. I can tell you that is Guillaume Henrion, the man who is going for 3 different titles in 3 years. Michelin Le Mans Cup last year and the Ligier European Series the year before. It is Gaël Julien in the number 15 RLR M Sport car. We wait to see who is going to emerge from pit lane in the final car to join the track, and that is going to be Oscar Tuño in the WTM by Rinaldi Racing number 12, Johnny.
So there are your runners and riders, but it remains to be seen who's going to be in the best place come the end of this 15-minute session. And so often with LMP3 qualifying for a European Le Mans Series race, it's quite important to be the last car released from pit road and perhaps the last car to see the checkered flag. That gives you the maximum amount of time to extract the pace from the track and also from your individual car. And so often we think somebody snatched it with 30 seconds to go, and then the car that's still yet to see the checkered flag 20 seconds later can vault to the top. Adam Ali for Euro International will be one of the first to head onto a meaningful lap. Also Manuel Espirito Santo for Cool Racing in the number 17 car, but it's Adam Ali, the Canadian, down the hill into turn 7 and 8. That quick twist to the left and to the right, and a rather untidy exit actually out of that corner for Adam Ali, which will compromise his run into turn 9. Going a fair bit up the curve there. Lights flashing though to warn the driver of car 12, who is Oscar Tuño, that there is a quicker car wanting to get by. So the WTM by Rinaldi Racing car will be watching the mirrors, but Adam Ali caught a bit too much curb on the left and then really had to correct his line. Absolutely slammed the yellow sausage curb, almost like a Swedish rally driver off a snowbank there, but it very much unsettled the balance of the car. And this is an exploratory lap, a preparatory lap for a quick one. Well, won't need to be scrapped because thankfully there are enough corners after that for him to recover the situation. But that was a fast lap for Adam Ali. He can find a lot more time through that middle sector.
A real mix of established and emerging talent here.
Drama for DKR's entry, the Duquesne for Wyatt Bricacek, I'm hearing from Steph. So they brought that car into pit lane. Maybe something stuck in the car that it's picked up, a bit of debris that is having to be retrieved. But it sounds like it's been solved quite quickly. This obviously is eating into the time that they're given, though. So Wyatt Bricacek will have less of the session to go at in the Luxembourgish entered DKR Engineering Duquesne.
Indeed, time's beginning to come through. Adam Ali currently leads this session. It's early days yet. 139.4 for the Euro International number 11 car. The only other car under 140 is Bailey Voisin in the number 5 RLRM Sport car. But time's lighting up at the moment. Just about every sector we've got is an improvement on the previous one, as we will see throughout these sessions. Quick fire qualifying.
Gaël Julien out of the final corner to swoop across the line, but Julien Henrion briefly into pole. Julien even faster by 1.3 seconds, so Henrion probably sat in provisional pole for about half a second there, but he in turn is a second clear of Adam Ali, and then therefore 2 seconds faster, Gaël Julien. But Manuel Espirito Santo about to arrive on the scene for the for the WTM by Rinaldi Racing crew. And over the line, Antoine Ducat will go as well. So Espirito Santo for Cool Racing. And he goes to the top now in the number 17 car. He's done 3 laps compared to some of the others doing the chasing that have only done 2.
Now, unseen by us, but there's been some kind of incident in the pit lane that's going to be investigated later between the 17 and the 31. That is our current provisional pole setting Cool Racing car and the Racing Spirit Le Mans Ligier. So, say no more about that. We didn't see it. Don't know whether Steph saw it and can shed any light on it, but either way, looks like there's going to be questions to be answered. Cool Racing, RLR, Racing Spirit Le Mans, your international top 5 at the moment. It is an all Ligier top 5 right now. Guillaume Henrion, who has headed this session, is currently 6th quickest, but is going very quickly indeed on this lap. It is going to improve. What a headline that would be for the European Le Mans Series, and for that matter, for the Ligier European Series, if Guillaume Henrion can repeat the success he's seen over the last couple of years. He goes to provisional pole position. He does so by 3/4 of a second.
Manuel Espirito Santo looks like he'll have some sort of an answer to that, because he's even faster than the young Frenchman through the first sector. The middle sector is not shabby at all, but it's not quite as quick as Julien Henrion has managed on his provisional pole time. A 1:35.5 is the time that Espirito Santo wants to beat. He's yet to cross the line on this occasion for WTM, and Espirito Santo goes faster, in fact, than Julien Henrion. So there we go. Found time in the first sector, found time in the latter sector. He was slightly slower than Julien Henrion in that very technical mid part of the lap, but when you hook it all together, it's good enough by 12 thousandths of a second to be quicker than Julien Henrion. The other one who will be a threat till the finish of this session is Oscar Tuño. Here he is for Wochenspiegel Team Monschau by Rinaldi.
There's always one, by the way, in a press conference that will say, where did you find the 12 thousandths? But to which the answer is, I have no idea what the other guy did. So, but at the moment, Guillaume Henrion half a second up on even that pace. So this is getting quicker and quicker, and it's doing so very quickly indeed. Cool Racing lead the session from Team Virage. Manuel Espirito Santo from Guillaume Henrion, also going very quickly, by the way, in the 15 RLR M Sport car, Gaël Julien. So Guillaume Henrion goes to the top, and Gaël Julien, as predicted, goes second. 3/10 the gap between them. It is a 1:35.0 now for Guillaume Henrion.
So returning to the fastest time, Henrion, and yes, by a more significant margin, although a bit of that was shaved away by Gaël Julien doing the chasing for RLR M Sport. Oscar Tuño over the line in 4th position. Manuel Espirito Santo falling to 3rd, but the best Duquesne is that WTM car. Antoine Ducat over the line to see improvement, although not to his position. He remains in 5th spot. There was also a good lap that time through for Adam Ali, who found a little bit more time as well. But Henrion leading fastest by 0.3 of a second over Gaël Julien.
Yeah, 6 minutes to go, and Manuel Espirito Santo has led this session, is on pit lane, and his tyres being taken by the defending champions at Cool Racing. It is, though, the 2 cars ahead of him going quicker still. Both up on the current pole time by under a 10th, so it's going to be mightily close. Will the tyres make the difference in the last 5.5 minutes for Cool Racing to roll now? So close here.
Well, even Wyatt Bricacek found time. Remember, he was delayed with the DKR engineering car having to come in to have something removed that presumably the car had picked up, and the team dealt with that very swiftly. Back into the session goes Manuel Espirito Santo. There is a lap deleted for car number 5, which is Bailey Voisat. And a moment or two ago, there was a spin, in fact, at turn 10.
That's one of the RLR cars. I think that might have been the 15. Go Julian.
Okay. Is that echoed in the mid-sector time? Well, that'll actually be the final sector time, won't it, by that point? And yes, much slower.
No, he improved his time.
It was much slower for
that car.
Espirito Santo, but that's because he pitted. It was Bailey Voisin who
in the 5.
Yeah, he spent a lot longer through the through the final sector, cost him about 12 seconds on the lap time in total.
So the improvement from Gael Julien draws him to within a quarter of a second of the pole time of Gillian Henrion at the moment. We've got 4.5 minutes left. Who has got something to offer here? Right, Ricochet pulls the DKR car up to 5th quickest overall from the bottom of Tübingen scoring.
Gael Julien's gone faster, so it's no longer 0.3 of a second, the gap first to second. It's down to 0.2, because Gael's just done the absolute best through that first sector for RLRM Sport. He's getting closer, still needs to find basically a quarter of a second, though, on Gillian Henrion.
Yeah, Kayaski on a quick lap at the moment. He's currently 6th. Mathieu Lehay is pulling time out of this 35 car. He currently props up the field, and that is a big surprise. This car did have quite a big accident earlier in the week, but has been right there since. So a surprise that's, by my money, the most experienced racer we've got in this session. Mathieu Lehay pedalled LMP1 and LMP2 cars in his day. Makes him sound ancient, doesn't it? Mathieu, still a very quick racer. He's just looking, I think, to hook a lap together.
He's setting personal best times on this lap, so maybe some improvement about to come. Sitting in 9th position.
Still 2 seconds off, though, and that is not a very Mathieu Lehay lap time at all. Gael Julien on a quick lap at the moment. We'll keep an eye on that one. Same with Bricacek, same with Kayaski, who goes through and is 6th quickest now. He's just a smidge over a second off the provisional pole. Bricacek goes 3rd, though, so this has been a great recovery up through the order for the DK Engineering man, and the lead Duquesne now moves from, well, what was 5th to 3rd. The 5th place car is the 4th, rather, to 3rd. Now 5th place car is the WTM car. Both Duquesnes in the top 5.
Well, that's something as well, up against it in terms of numbers, but they're making their pace show in 3rd and in 5th for Bricacek and Oscar Tuño. So not long to go now for Gillian Henrion to hang on to this 0.235 of a second advantage.
He's on pit lane, I think that's all she wrote. Bailey Voisin the same from 9th place. So Gillian Henrion seems confident that that is not going to be challenged. Gael Julien will get one more go at this, really take it.
But it also remains to be seen how much life is left in these Michelin tyres that are built for roughly hour-long stints. So their peak performance isn't necessarily there for single lap qualifying once you've pushed for 2 or 3 real hot laps.
There's some quick first sector times coming in here, including by Wyatt Bricacek, who then puts in a sort of average middle sector, but then a much quicker time by Manuel Espirito Santo. He is up, as is Gael Julien on this lap after first sector on the provisional pole time. It's again, as we saw in earlier sessions today, Johnny, going to be about where and whether they've got the bite left in these tyres in the middle sector.
Yeah, because...
And the answer for Manuel Espirito Santo is that he does. He is cleared sector 2 and he's still up on pole pace. Can he leap up from 4th to challenge the pole position time? It's not been the case for Gael Julien. He's dropped a couple of tenths. But here comes Manuel Espirito Santo from 4th in the 17 Core racing car. Championship winners last year. He's going to cross the line and he goes to the top, and he does so by a full quarter of a second. It's almost a bluff, isn't it?
I don't know about that. I think it's all in the planning for Cool Racing, and every credit to Manuel Espirito Santo, because Gillian Henrion had been sent to the pits effectively by the team to say, do you know what, that might be enough, and Julian, can you give us one more? And the reply may well have been, no, I've spent the tyres already. Whereas Manuel Espirito Santo, did he have a pit stop along the way? Yes, there was a stop during the session, so they may well have given him another set of tyres. Julien Omrion came in, though, as well. So maybe just treating those tyres a little more gently in the early stages has meant that he could lean on them a bit more in the closing stages.
Kai Askey, by the way, in the Intereuropol number 88 car, was leaning on it for his final lap, but it looks like he's had a moment in the middle sector. I think he's run off the circuit. He's been scored as track limits there. Cool Racing. And if I'm not wrong, the lady there putting on the fireproofs, you will be familiar with ex-Orica PR man and then ex-Cool Racing sporting director, now at TDS Racing, Anthony Megavond. Once a journalistic colleague of mine. I'm pretty certain that the lady pulling on the fireproof balaclava is his mother.
Okay.
And that's absolutely brilliant. I've been looking to say hello to her all week. That's the first time I've seen her on camera. But wonderful stuff. Cool Racing becoming one of that group of squads that we are regularly now calling a de facto super team in LMP racing, able to produce the results in multiple championships, in multiple formulae. You can see that Steph Wentworth is on the scene and we'll be looking for someone to pull in microphone at.
Well, we're going to catch up with, of course, not the man who's just done the business, Manuel Espirito Santo. Cool Racing were a championship-winning team in LMP3 last year, so they've continued where they left off. Let's catch up with his teammate.
Hello, and I am joined by Miguel Cristoval, driver of the number 17 Cool Racing. Miguel, teammates just put it on pole. It's the you're defending the championship. Great start to the season, no?
Yeah, we start well. The team is working very hard and always looking for the win. And Manuel makes an amazing lap, the last lap, and so everything is going as the plan.
And how easy will it be to convert this pole position into a win for the race?
It will be very difficult. The championship grow up in level, and so we have like 5-6 cars very strong to win. So we hope we'll win.
Okay, best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Miguel Cristoval speaking on behalf of Manuel Espirito Santo. They took pole position last year as well, right at the start of the season. Here are the times: 1:34.761 for Espirito Santo, and that means that Julien Omrion, who already in the pit lane, loses out by a quarter of a second from RLRM Sports' Gaël Julien. And then Wyatt Brikacek, who took a little bit of time to get up to speed for DKR Engineering, but has bagged a second row start for car number 4, and the best of the Duquesnes ahead of fellow Duquesne runner WTM by Rinaldi Racing and Oscar Tuño. Kai Askey for Inter-Europol competition coming next. Antoine Duquin, Adam Ali for Racing Spirit of Le Mans and Euro International. And to be Bailey Voisin with that late spin for RLRM Sport to start ahead of a head-scratching and perhaps concerning Mathieu Lehay in the Ultimate car number 35.
And some distance off, so that's not... I would say they've got a car problem there. That's not a very Mathieu Lehay sort of session, unless they were running to conserve tyres. That is possible, that they're not running for pace. That is one possibility.
Yeah, it's a good shout, and you are more restricted within qualifying and indeed free practice within LMP3 than any other class up and down the field, because yes, you have to use your qualifying tyres if you're in LMP2 in the race as well, but at least you're given a separate set for free practice 1 and 2. Each, remember, 90-minute sessions, slightly more tyres if you're in LMP3, but nevertheless that's no doubt the reason why we don't see a great deal of LMP3 running. The bare minimum for some of the teams across those 2 1.5-hour sessions. Now the interval between the two, the 2 qualifying sessions we've just had, the 2 qualifying sessions still to come, that automatically means the youth of the day go straight on their phones. Let's hope they're checking the latest lap times rather than doing an Instagram post or whatnot. Here's what I had for dinner. Yeah, even that is a generation away now from what they currently do.
Oh God, I'm so behind.
Got to be.
There's good news, Johnny.
Go on, please.
Well, you know we've got some LMP2 cars coming.
Yes.
Number one, there's a record number of them.
Brilliant.
22 across 2 classes. Want to know even better news?
I would.
They found the secret button and they've turned it up to bonkers. So
well, it was always there, that special little button.
So what we saw last year, there's a man there with a flame coming out. No, it's not. It looked like he had a flame coming out of his hand there, but it was just a oddly positioned cloud. Last year we saw this circuit amended to delete the chicane. This year, the LMP2 cars in both LMP2 and LMP2 Pro-Am, and the difference there is they are the crews that have a bronze rated driver. You can see the light blue number panel for the LMP2 Pro-Am cars. We have 8 of those this season, and they get 40 more brake horsepower and a bit less weight. And what that means is they're going to be quicker.
Yeah.
And there are no comparisons prior to last year that really counts. What we can tell you is, even in free practice, we were getting into, 6, 7, 8 cars beating pole performance from last year. You are going to see these cars going around this circuit quicker than they have been before. And that is great news as the local crowd move to the shady bit of the grandstand, because it is blisteringly warm out there now. LMP2 Pro-Am, it is going to be first. As I say, there are 8 of those cars, of the 22 LMP2 cars. An astonishing number. So all of the 8 cars we're going to see in this session will both have in their driver squad and aboard the car for this session their bronze driver. DKR Engineering will be Andis Latari-Canon from Australia. Tony Wells is in a LMP2 car this year in the European Le Mans Series. Late deal to join Team Virage, the number 19 car. Algarve Pro Racing have a car apiece. It is Crichton Lentudis steps from his GTE car last year to Algarve Pro's number 20 Oreca this time. Daniel Schneider, second year for the Brazilian gentleman driver. He's in the 21 United Motorsports car we saw on a minute ago. Nielsen Racing, another team with 1 in each of the LMP2 classes. And great to see John Falb, US driver from Las Vegas. He's back this year. Another US driver, Rodrigo Sales, is in the Richard Mille by TDS number 29 car. That's the car we're looking at there. Proton Competition 77. Giorgio Roda is their bronze talent. And, of course, the number 83 car, the very shiny Breton stylised livery on the AF Corsa Oreca, and it is serial championship winner Francois Perraudot, the ever-smiling Francois, aboard the 83 car, and they are about to see track action in qualifying for another 15 minutes of bonkers.
2 free practice sessions already this weekend. One of them was held yesterday, just prior to lunchtime, 90 minutes worth that began at 10 to midday. And then the other one was this morning, after the first of the Ligier European Series races. And certainly one of the cars to look out for during the race will be the 21 United Autosports entry, because a certain Ollie Jarvis is allocated against that car, and Andy Merrick joining Daniel Schneider. The difference with this session compared to free practice, though, is that it's a bronze only again, something we became used to from, I think, last year for the first time when we had Pro-Ams. It might have been the year before. Time really does fly. But this is the Pro-Am part of LMP2, yes, which incorporates a bronze, and therefore bronze drivers can only take part in the qualifying session. There's nothing to prevent them from winning races outright, though.
As we've seen.
As Louis Delatraz proved here
indeed
this time last year for Racing Team Turkey.
Yeah, when you had a couple of interruptions, and that was burning bronze time at the start of the race, they were right there, and it's happened more than once last season. A quick hello, we don't often do it, but a very special part of the European Le Mans Series family for many, many years to Cara de Vlaming, who's watching in. Cara, hope all is well with you in the land of tulips. Hope to see you in the paddock at some point soon. She's unbelievably lovely, by the way.
I would agree. Yeah, wholeheartedly. And the paddock is a lesser place without your presence.
To start LMP2 Pro qualifying session.
I wasn't talking to you,
Please remind drivers of the need to respect track limits.
And yet you continue to talk at us, but I know the track limits are so important. We'll hear a countdown in a moment from the Bond villain as well.
We will be starting LMP2 Pro in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. LMP2 Pro qualifying session has started.
No, Mr. Driver, I expect you to obey track limits. It should have been. Away they go, and the low rumble of Nismo 5.6 litre V8 is replaced by the altogether higher pitch sound of the, well, I'd say iconic 4.2 litre Gibson V8s. Fantastic engine, and will be with us for years to come in LMP2. We now know that its time LMP2 service will cross the boundary into the new cars. That much was confirmed. And out they come. There's a bit more still to emerge from pit lane, as one or two of the teams will ensure that their drivers get a little bit more space.
There's a very sort of blocky livery to the DKR engineering car. At first glance, it looks like that nose has been heavily taped up after maybe a replacement required after a free practice crash earlier. That's not the case, though. It's almost like pixelated.
Yeah, I think as the livery designer reaches to his left for the bottle of whiskey and the gun, the answer is no, it looks great.
I felt that needed pointing out because it looked like it had a very sorry weekend up until this point. We'll get used to it.
I think I like it. I like it a lot.
I didn't say I didn't like it. You're putting words in my mouth now. Very wide indeed for the Nielsen Racing driver. That, I think, because John Falb sensed, and indeed, yes, was correct to do so, some slightly quicker cars that wanted to wriggle free.
I'm afraid we've got a competition underway because there's another of our recently departed from the paddock people that we know and love.
Now, hang on a minute, because you said literally 30 seconds ago we don't do mentions.
Well, we're going to do another one, otherwise.
It's turning into quite a lot of mentions.
The one I'm about to mention, if I don't actually quite frightens me. Fee Miller, hi Fee, fragrant Fee. Stepping back from trackside action for the most part. I'm sure we will see her again. Dispenser of bonhomie and good advice for my entire career in this business. And those two ladies, by the way, just amazing parts of what makes this sport special for the last, now I'm going to be in trouble, aren't I? Some years.
That'll do, that'll cover it. Because Fee, up until, was it only last year, was working with Vector Sport.
She was.
And Vector entered into LMP2 rather than the Pro-Am part of the field.
Well, Vector were originally supposed to be with the hypercar program with Isotta Fraschini. That didn't work out, but they are here, and with an eye-catching driver lineup as well. Astonishing to see both Cara and Fiona stepping away in pretty quick order behind each other, and both of them still in their 20s.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, all their career in front of them.
Absolutely.
I think it's
Who
fair to
knows
say.
what they'll do?
Rodrigo Sales starting to turn up the wick because it's purple through sector 1 and 2 for the American driver, and Richard Mille by TDS. So the 29 car surely to the top of the field, although Crichton Lentudis is not too far away with a very good time through the middle sector as well.
So John Falb brings the Nielsen car back onto pit lane. 11.5 minutes still to go. No one in a hurry just yet. Getting these cars bedded in. 1:37.0 for Rodrigo Sales. Is instantly beaten by 1:36.5 by Crichton Lentudis, the Greek driver. Huge experience in historic racing with a range of splendid cars, including a Peugeot 908 LMP1 car. Crichton pedals that well. So he's aboard the Argyle Pro Racing car. Their pro car, of course. Defending champions. What a great year they had last season. Beating off a challenge from none other than United Autosports. The very fact that they did that shows that it was a very high level indeed last season.
Francois Perrodo, also no stranger to a Peugeot 908.
He isn't. No, he's got one as well.
The car that won at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 2009.
Yeah, Peugeot for you, Peugeot for you, Peugeot for everybody.
Yeah.
They say.
Well, I got a Peugeot rental this weekend.
Did you? Yeah.
As well. But
is it a 908?
Doesn't look much like a 908
no.
FAP.
No.
The badges are similar.
What, the Peugeot badge?
That's what I mean.
Yes.
The lion. But that's possibly where the comparisons or the similarities end. Coming out of the final corner, Francois Perraudot, the man we speak about, is stone last, but that's about to change because he goes across the line now and to the top.
He does indeed, Francois Perraudot.
135.524 to put him a second clear of Crichton Lentudis.
Again, we've got a number of Rodrigo Sales goes through a 133. That's a good time at this stage of the proceedings. A number of established bronzes in LMP2 and 1 or 2 or 3 who are newbies this year, and that's going to be an interesting dynamic through this season. There's lots of things that appeal to the sort of driver that takes part in pro-am racing, but one of them I can tell you very much is competing against their peers. Where am I in the pecking order? Charles-Henri Sommery from AF Corsa in the GTE thing. And why is he doing that? Because Francois Perraudot is his brother-in-law.
Yeah, okay. It all slots together nicely. I'm also tracking back through my archives regarding Tony Wells and when he last drove an LMP2 car. I reckon he did it at Le Mans 4 years ago. And if you go back far enough, he apparently has some experience with Greaves and with Murphy in the 2014 championship.
Wow.
They were very different LMP2 cars.
Very different LMP2. Open top
10 years ago.
Oricas, Nissan or Judd engines.
So yes, but since then, in 2021, he was in the ELMS in P3 for Nielsen, and that's been 3 years now.
Absolutely.
In LMP3, so a bit of a step back up, and of course they've been given performance back again as well, so some adjustment period.
Indeed, Perraudot back to the top and at first into the 32s, but Rodrigo Sales immediately responds and he's 132.0. Tony Wells, sorry, it's 132.0. So that's a cracking first effort from Tony. So Wells, Sales, Perraudot, Lentudis, Daniel Schneider, Giorgio Roda. Now, there's more, I'm sure, to come from Giorgio Roda, Andres Latore, and John Falb, who has yet to set a flying time. There's a lot to come here in the last 8 minutes. Roda, as I said it, straight to the top and almost second clear. So Giorgio Roda, who was pretty spectacular in his qualifying form in Asia this year, the Asia Le Mans series. A number of these drivers were part of that series with an impressive LMP2 field, all Pro-Am there. So Proton competition from Team Virage, Richard Mille by TDS, AF Corsa, Algopro Racing, United Autosports, Daniel Schneider, DKR Racing. We'll wait to see what John Falb can do in the Nielsen Racing car number 24.
Here's the second fastest car in the hands of Tony Wells for Team Virage. He's 9/10 of a second away from Giorgio Roda's best effort to date.
He's on this pace, but Roda is upping the ante on his next lap, but Tony Wells will be measuring his progress here against the established order.
Francois Perraudot saw improvement on that lap, 132.1, that will take him third, and across the line goes Rodrigo Sales to briefly go second, but when Wells outpaces him again. So it's 131.6 for Sales, 31.3 for Tony Wells, slots back into second place, and now only just under 2/10 slower than this man, Giorgio Roda.
Yeah, indeed, impressive time from Tony Wells. No real testing in this car before this week, so that's a particularly impressive go at it. He drops another couple of 3/10 to Roda as he improves, but it's another improved first sector from Tony Wells in response.
So Roda remaining fastest by now half a second, but Wells, as you say, is responding at 26.2 through the first sector. That takes you all the way around to the braking area for turn 4 from the start line. So that's the best that Tony's done in the first of 3 sectors so far in this session. We're almost at the 10-minute mark of what was 15 minutes on the initial clock. Rodrigo Sales not quite on the front row in LMP2 Pro-Am, but he's not a million miles away, 0.3 of a second. There goes through John Falb now to go fourth.
Yes, indeed, so that's a big improvement. That's a squirrely wide moment there for the Nielsen Racing car. John Falb fighting that car around. I've got to say, he is one of the established order here. He'll be one of the benchmarks for the drivers coming in, but John will be getting his eye back in here. Great to see him back in this paddock. Always a smiling part of it.
Yeah, again, some time away, but you never forget how friendly and accessible the European Le Mans Series paddock is. I'm sure he's delighted to be back at circuits that he knows well.
It will be his first opportunity, by the way, to have been racing at the circuit in its current configuration.
Yes, having sat out the first year where we didn't have the chicane in the configuration, the iteration of this circuit between 13 and 14.
And it's Giorgio Roda, half a second to the good from Tony Wells. That's an impressive early performance in this season from Tony Wells. Rodrigo Salas, John Falb, Francois Perodo. Then another of our LMP2 newcomers, Crichton and Tudis, Daniel Schneider and Andres Latorocanon. 4 minutes to go. What's left? John Falb improves again but stays fourth, but he's shaving away tenths here to get in amongst the top three.
Here is the said pixelated DKR engineering entry for Andres Latorocanon then, running around in 8th position, but last time around did a 38.3, which is his best effort so far.
Gianluca Roda, father of Giorgio, something of a Roda family dynasty in racing. It's all sorts of uncles and cousins and fathers and sons.
Fascinating, you can't see this, but the various bits of body language going on in the Roda family, who are ensconced in the Proton competition garage. Not sure whether Giorgio is quite as nervous as those spectators down in the team area, but that's the nature of being in control of the situation. Half a second the margin for Giorgio Roda in the Proton competition car. He's the fastest bronze in this bronze-only session to date. Tony Wells, though, still might have something up his sleeve, and perhaps more so. Rodrigo Salas has just gone in quicker through the first sector.
Yeah, he's closed in by a few tenths on Tony Wells last time around. He's going quicker again. And if you thought you were serious and passionate about motorsport, just imagine if you had the additional ingredient of being Italian.
Just adds an extra layer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, here comes Roda out of turn 4 and then into this awkward approach of turn 5, and you come barreling down the hill. Plenty of curb taken there. I think just about managed to keep the Goodyear tyre the right side of the white line by the merest slither. No indication that track limits were being compromised so far, at least through sector 2. Doesn't look like this is going to be quicker than the 1:30.8 though, that at the moment gives Giorgio Roda the best time of all.
And he puts in Giorgio Roda, the fastest middle sector of the session. Has a bit of a wobble there though. That will have cost him a little bit of time.
Well, that was the sector that I was just asking whether he maybe ran a touch wide out of turn 5, but no, as I say, there's no spot next to that time yet. And again, he keeps within the white line coming out of turn 14 and over the line. It's not an improvement, despite that absolute best through the first sector. Still, the last lap, a 1:30.9. His best is a 1:30.8. He really wasn't a million miles away from it.
He was not, and that was just a minor mistake. I think that's cost him an improved time. He's not going to be under pressure from Tony Wells, because Wells has pitted the Team Virage car. Where is the challenge going to come from? Is there going to be a challenge? Not seeing it at the moment. It's got a minute left on the clock. That lap, in any case, was deleted. For track limits.
I thought it was questionable coming out of turn 5, because he took plenty of curb. Just heading out of that same corner now, but not showing any dip in pace. So still feeling that the tyres are going to offer him enough potentially to improve on the 1:30.8. It's risk versus reward here, and also the required amount of risk when you're sitting on over half a second's advantage. but clearly feeling very comfortable in the car, Giorgio Roda. Tony Wells has pitted anyway, as has Rodrigo Sales. So surely they're going to call Giorgio Roda in at the end of this lap because their nearest competition no longer out competing.
Indeed, just looking, John Falbon, a reasonably quick lap here. He's a couple of tenths off ultimate pole pace on his first sector, but there is still a lap time here that could haul him up the order. He only needs to find a couple of 3/10ths to get onto the front row, so that could be quite interesting. It is the checkered flag is out, and indeed Giorgio Roda does come to the pits. Falcon can complete this lap. Latour is still finding time here. He's some way off the pack here, but looking to use every single lap he can get out there to improve. And Falb's dropped a couple more tenths, but a good run through this final sector could still gain him a place on this grid.
Roda so happy with that performance. He's absolutely leapt out of the car there. Indicates to the cameras taking pictures of him that is the number one. And John Fowle will cross the line.
He does improve.
To go third.
Yes,
so whilst we focus on the celebrations for Giorgio Roda, it's not going to affect his starting position for tomorrow's race, but John Fowle will move from one side of the grid to the other and bag third position from Rodrigo Sales.
He does, so it was worth the push there from John Fowle. He'd be pleased with that, if not disappointed not to be further up the grid. It's a cracking display there for Giorgio Roda, but for me, Johnny Palmer, the most impressive performance in that session came from Tony Wells.
Yeah, when you consider that he's been away from LMP2 for a number of seasons now, ran at Le Mans in 2020 with Nielsen Racing in an LMP2 car, but that was a one-off race, and the cars have changed dramatically since then as well, so there's been quite a lot of recalibration of the brain required, I would imagine. Tony, who hails from Middlesbrough in the UK originally, and the Team Virage driver, mightily impressive there to only be half a second away from Giorgio Roda, who has worked hard throughout that. He's out of breath, he's a little tired, but very, very happy with his performance there and the 1:30.816 that he posted.
So LMP2 Pro-Am now in the books and Proton competition. 1:30.816 for Giorgio Roda, tops the times, half a second clear of Tony Wells in the 19 from Team Virage and the 24 Nielsen Racing car of John Fowle, grabbing that third place right at the death from the 29 Richard Mille by TDS car of Rodrigo Sales. It is Francois Peroda's AF Corsa car, Daniel Schneider in United Autosports, Crichton Lentudis for Algarve Pro, and the DK Engineering car of Andres Latour that complete the order.
An excellent lap of 1:30.8 set reasonably in the middle of the session, so he was comfortable towards the end, and we need to catch up with the man of the moment now, chatting with Steph.
I am joined by Giorgio Roda, driver of the number 77 Proton competition. You have just put it on pole. Wow, it looked like a mighty lap from you, and you look like you gave it absolutely everything.
Yeah, it was really good to pole position. Like last year in Portimão, we ended in pole position as I did it. So starting in this year with the Proton competition in LMP2, again on pole position, I would say it's we were toward the right direction last year, and we started really well this year. From the prologue, we really worked hard and in a good way, always improving the car. So I'm really happy for the guys and all the team. We clinched the first pole position, and let's hope it's not the last one.
Amazing. And with the new car and the new power that you've got, how is it feeling underneath you? Does it feel like you're quite connected with it?
I feel like the same like this year. Honestly, I didn't feel any difference in horsepower and the weight. It's a bit strange because I'm doing WEC with the Ford, and there I feel the difference compared to this car. So jumping from this car to the other one, it's nothing different. So the gain of horsepower is only on the clockwise, and we see we're going faster than last year. So that's all. I think the car is mega, and I think our car is really good on hot conditions. So we're looking forward for the race. It's going to be really hot and a bit warmer than today, and I believe it's going to be a good race.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
He's quite right that that's two pole positions in LMP2 Pro-Am in a row now, when Giorgio Roda outpaced Sally Jolic and Tom van Rompuy in the Algarve. that race itself for Roda. I remember when Jonas Reed had a significant off, but that wasn't that particular race. The following day, remember we had a double header to end the season last year. In fact, they were separated by two days, weren't they? We had a Friday race and a Sunday race, and Roda, Reed, Viscal ended up finishing in 12th overall, and within category it was somewhat better than that to finish just outside the top 6. So, but they will be hoping certainly to be topping the order in LMP2 Pro-Am tomorrow, and ideally eating their way into the LMP2 cars as well, and it's possible to do that if there are early safety cars.
Do you want some good news?
Yeah.
I know we've had some good news earlier. Do you want some more good news?
Oh, go on then, yes.
We're not done with LMP2.
Really?
Because I know that was 8, and that's quite a lot. There's 14 more to come.
14 more?
14
Surely they're going to
more.
throw some of those 8 back out into this session again.
Well, no, there's no point, because there's 14
because
already.
we've got 14 completely separate cars.
We have. So this is LMP2. This is
quite an entry of LMP2.
This
really,
is a ridiculous entry of LMP2. This is the LMP2 class that does not require a bronze driver. And this is where I think we are going to see the lap record with the circuit configuration obliterated. We've already seen times around a second quicker than last season with the cars with that additional sort of around 40 brake horsepower. There's Ben Hanley aboard the United car, or his United car, one of 3 that is on this grid. 22 car, the darker blue number plates there. Cool Racing and the number 47 car. The 47 car, by the way, and I hope he's listening in and watching in. Heel up, 30 Habsburg. Nasty shunt, lot of his making in the factory Alpine hypercar, which he's a part, and as is Paul-Luc Chatin, who replaces him this weekend. A fractured lumbar vertebrae, a nasty and painful injury. So you'll be getting lots of advice from Doctors Ferdy. Listen to all of it and do, or rather don't do, what they tell you to either do or don't do, if that makes sense.
Not quite, but I know what you mean
soon
with the sentiment. Yes.
Great driver, great personality. He's been a joy to be part of this sports car racing family. The hammers go to work, the cars have dropped down, and we're going to be into action for this session very soon. Johnny Palmer, 14 cars, as I say, Iron Lynx, Proton, Vector Sport, AO by TF, 2 from United, Algarve Pro Racing, Nielsen Racing, EDEX Sports, Duquesne team, inter-Europol competition with another pair, Cool Racing with yet another pair, and Panis Racing with their new alliance this year with TDS Racing. That is the order, and that, my friend, would be an order that graced the Le Mans 24 Hours, that alone, part of a field for LMP2 in the European Le Mans Series, and we get to watch this qualifying 6 times this year, and watch them race for 6 times this year, and the vast majority of them will be going to Le Mans as well. That is the AO by TF car, the 14, Johnny Edgar, Louis Delatraz and Robert Kubica to be aboard that car. That right there has got to be regarded in quite a large group, regarded as potential championship winners. Away they go, including the 25 Algarve Pro car, which is the defending championship winning car from last season.
That was merely on the message that LMP2 cars may now access the fast lane, by the way.
That was competitive enough.
That was the race to a red light, and the session's not even started yet. A reminder that the driver makeup slightly different from what you may remember from the World Endurance Championship, where you had to have a silver, but then you could run with 2 platinums. ELMS has always been a maximum of 1 platinum, a gold, if you were like, but certainly the 1 platinum and then 1 gold. Some run with 2 golds, but the silver still has to be there. So can I just run through the platinums we've got from the numbers on our entry list? Matteo Cairoli,
Lamborghini factory driver.
Filip Drugovic,
F2 champion in 2022.
Yeah, of Brazil. Robert Kubica,
ex-Formula 1 race winner, and he has been he is in the hypercar class in the FIA World Endurance Championship with AF Corse and Ferrari.
The next platinum, I'm missing the golds, by the way. The next platinum, Paul Di Resta.
Well, Formula 1 driver, DTM, was he champion or race winner?
Oh, that's a question.
And he is multiple sports car racing champion and current Peugeot factory driver.
Alex Lynn.
Current
30
Cadillac
seconds,
factory driver.
under 30 seconds to start LMP2 qualifying.
Will Stevens.
Acura factory driver in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship and ex-Formula 1 driver.
Luca Giotto.
Formula 2 driver, and I was here when he tested an LMP1 car with Ginetta some years back.
Ritomo Miata.
LMP2 qualifying
The
will
current
start
test
in
and
9,
development driver for
8,
Tota Gazoo Racing.
7,
And Frederick
6,
Vesti.
5,
And
4,
another epic
3,
F2 driver.
2,
Yep. I
1.
mean, that
Pit
is
exit
literally
is
just the
open.
platinums I've
LMP2
reeled
qualifying
off
has
there.
started.
We'll obviously
Hang
get
on,
to
Please
the
remind
drivers
drivers
too.
of the need to respect track limits.
Track limits.
Evil villain is talking.
Sorry.
Don't do that, mate.
He's stroking the cat
He's got lasers.
on the spinning chair. We're underway. I got very excited there and completely drowned out Eduardo Freitas, but he's had plenty of
okay.
countdowns where I've remained silent.
It's
So
quite
I
forgiving.
felt I owed him one.
It's quite forgiving.
Good.
Usually.
On one occasion, you
But
get
you-
one shout. and
Yeah,
that's
but
it.
it's the first race of the season. He might feel as if he needs to make an example of you. I'll back you up,
Thanks, mate.
albeit briefly. So, in the cars, it is Matteo Corelli. We mentioned him a little earlier in the number 9 Iron Lynx Proton car. AO by TF put out Louis Delatraz in the number 14 car. The 23 from United Autosports, it's Peugeot Garg aboard that car. Alex Lynn, we mentioned, in the Algar Pro car, the 25. 27 Diesel Racing in their Pro car, Will Stevens. Reshad Dejeras starts the session for EDEC Sport. James Allen, another name to conjure with in LMP2 cars from Duquesne team with the number 30. Luca Giotto, it is in the Duquesne team, number 30. Apologies, it's the Inter-Europol car, number 34. Ritomo Miata, Cool Racing, 37. Inter-Europol competitions, number 43 in the hands of Tom Dillman, another ex-hypercar driver in the FIA World Endurance Championship. Fred Vesti, it is in the 47 Cool Racing car. Ben Hanley we saw aboard the 22. We're waiting for Panis Racing's 65. There it is, in the colours of Mark VDS Racing this year. And the 10 from Vector Sport to see which of their drivers will emerge as the Goodyears are bolted on. And they will be out there and out to play any time soon. Well, as the first cars go through and onto their first flying lap, I've heard it said multiple times, step away from the fence, it's qualifying, step away from the TV as well, because this is going to get fruity.
Well, there are plenty of fans on site here. They've been pouring in since pretty much 9 o'clock this morning, eager to watch this session. And of course, we've got a Michelin Le Mans Cup race to come later on this evening as well. But this is the highlight if you're a European Le Mans Series fan for today, ahead of tomorrow's first race of the season, the 4 hours of Barcelona. But who's your money on in terms of being the quickest car, I wonder, as we concentrate in the early stages on Tom Dillman in the Inter-Europol competition car, number 43, with the principally yellow nose. It's an inverted style of livery for the 34 car for Inter-Europol competition, so a yellow dorsal fin and a green nose for car 34, which we'll catch sight of in a moment or two, being driven by Luca Giotto. Ryan Cullen back in pit lane, I noticed. Matteo Cairoli's done the same, and Louis Delatraz. So switching the tyres around maybe to make sure that they're turned on very swiftly.
Another of ELMS rookies, and certainly no rookie himself, Arthur Leclerc, of all people. I think Arthur was quickest in the prologue overall, if I recall correctly. He is aboard the Panis Racing car. We're yet to see Vector Sport emerge. The one car we have not seen so far off pit lane. Cool Racing's number 37. Grinding around. This is just looking for space, I suspect it is. So something like 128's pole position we're looking for. If I tell you exactly where we were in 2023. The pole time.
Whilst you look that up, Tom Dillman setting the early pace with a 136.614. Richard de Gueras second fastest for EDEC Sport, car 28. 37 of Ritomo Miata, just working his way to optimum temperature, as now Paul Di Resta, who has been a DTM champion, to answer your question from many minutes ago, 2010. And Di Resta to the top for United Autosports by 88 thousandths of a second, and immediately bettered by Ben Hanley in the other United Autosports car. So 22 faster than 23 now by 0.130 of a second.
So the qualifying lap record LMP2 at this circuit in its current configuration, which only lasts from last year, of course, a 1:29.396. We have already seen times a second quicker than that, and that was not in qualifying configuration. Richard De Geus, who's in this session, is the lap record holder. Can he retain it?
Well, he was second fastest a moment or two ago, now fourth quickest. Tom Dillman over the line to be fastest briefly, but then De Geus even quicker by 0.227 of a second.
And that is the qualifying lap record, 1:28.743. He's already retained his record. Who's going to beat it? That's what we're looking at right now. Vector Sport, by the way, it is Felipe Drugovich from Brazil who is aboard that car, and that's an exciting talent to conjure with.
Yeah.
He's the tester reserve driver for Aston Martin in Formula 1 and has spectacular hair. That's what I'll say as well. That.
De Geus quickest for Edex Sport by 0.2 over Tom Dillman into Europole competition. Di Resta shunted back down to third position. Miata and Vesti as this cool racing wave working their way up the timing screen, though. Fourth and fifth for car 37 and 47, and Nicolas Lapierre looking on with his position within Cool Racing.
What a squad he's built up. We've not seen in this session, by the way, and Melty Jacobsen. And we sent the clipping, another a reference to Motorsport magazine and the estimable Mark Hughes, suggesting to those in the Formula 1 paddock that they might not be wasting their time taking a look at Melty Jacobsen for a test drive in the F1 car. Don't disagree with them. Still a talent. Quite tall now, unfortunately. So.
True, yeah, might be a hindrance perhaps, but
don't
they'll find a way around that.
De Geus goes quicker again. He's 1:28.423. He really wants that lap record, doesn't he? Just a tenth quicker than Tom Dillman, and 2 tenths quicker, just under 2 tenths quicker from Luca Giotto. James Allen back on pit lane. 8 minutes to go, and this session already pretty much alight. Just looking at the times we have here, and 7 cars have beaten the previous lap record.
Very impressive, but we kind of expected that to be the case. Absolute best middle sector in the hands of Tom Dillman, but great times as well for Ben Hanley now, who's actually down in 9th fastest, but he's just set the best, change that, 2nd fastest, courtesy of what I was about to say, the absolute best through sector 1, and he put his times through the other 2 sectors on that lap to good use. So Ben Hanley rises to 2nd fastest in United number 22.
Yeah, by 26 thousandths of a second. That's the gap. That's how close it is. So it needed that improvement for Richard De Geus at this point. There's been an incident for car 37 at T1 and is noted. I wonder if that's not obeying the instructions.
Could well be.
For Ritomo Miata. We'll wait and see what emerges from that one.
If you run wide at turn 1, you have to take to the complete escape road, and maybe Miata did not do that. We haven't seen it yet. The AO by TF Sport car being driven by Louis Delatraz, who has topped free practice sessions already this week, but maybe leaving a bit too much to do. We've got still 6.5 minutes remaining, and I know the Swiss driver well. He's always got a secret weapon up his sleeve late on in the session, so let's see what TF can do.
Looking for where the pace is going to come. Will Stevens is on a reasonably quick lap, so is Matteo Caroli there at the moment, languishing further down the order, but have not yet put in what I would call a representative lap time from either them or their teams, but that's coming. So Richard De Geus it is, leads for Edex Sport, the 28 car. He's just coming off pit lane now as the second in the order. Ben Hanley comes onto pit lane. They're separated by 0.028 of a second, and they're both in the 1:28.4s. A full second, other than change, quicker than last year's lap record.
Here comes Louis Delatraz, back to cross the line now for AO by TF. He'll go to 7th place. in car number 14. Message on the screen about car 37. It's now under investigation, that incident at turn 1. Is that Miata again then?
That, I think, was the same issue.
Yeah, okay.
4 minutes ago.
Miata for 37 is perhaps more in cement now in terms that it will be looked at, but maybe at a later date.
Cairoli going quicker this time around. Will Stevens going quicker this time around. Delatraz going quicker this time around. And this session is about to come alight, Johnny Palmer.
Well, just about to complete his outlap is Arthur Leclerc in the Panis Racing 65. Arthur coming now through turn 14 and about to cross the line.
Drugovic up on pole time at the moment, so is Stevens, so is Louis Delatraz, and then we got Matteo Cairoli pretty close to it as well.
Some fabulous super slow-mo of Arthur Leclerc on his outlap. So I'm guessing a new set or newish set of Goodyear tyres for the Monegasque driver. And Leclerc has already picked off Ritomo Miata, who is struggling for whatever reason, although Miata's just done his personal best time in car number 37 through the first sector.
Looking for what's going to come here from... There's no improvement from Louis Delatraz, you know. Will Stevens does improve, but only to 8th.
Delatraz, one of the few that actually stayed out. We have had one pit stop for the AO by TF car, but that was earlier on in the session, whereas the latest batch to all pit together pretty much from second all the way through to 6th place. So in a moment there's going to be more speed from Ben Hanley, from Tom Dillman, from Luca Giotto. That's two into Europol competition entries, and the United car for Hanley number 22. Paul Di Resta's just made a stop for tyres, and Frederick Vesti in the Cool Racing 47, a new set of Goodyears for that car as well.
James Allen on a quick lap here as well. He's right there on pole position. Pace after the first sector, so too is Will Stevens, who's slightly up on that pace. As we've seen, as they get deeper into these sessions, it is that second sector that just eats up the tyre grip and the performance.
Arthur Leclerc did improve, but still only good enough for 13th position. The same for other cars around him, including Drugovic and Ritomo Miata.
Have the teams who've gone deep here got it wrong?
Just not quite seeing the speed. Will Stevens crosses the line with a 128.7.
Still only 8th. Still only 8th.
Staying 8th. James Allen's improving, but still only good enough for 10th.
But he's 3/10 off. He's 8th, and it's 3/10 of a second.
Yeah.
The gaps are tiny.
Yeah, so I'll read you the interval column at the moment. Richard de Gueras to Ben Hanley, 26 thousandths of a second. Then we've got 80 thousandths of a second separating Hanley from Dillman. 82.040, 4 thousandths of a second Paul Di Resta to Frederick Vesti. So tight, but as you say, 3/10 of a second the gap from the fastest back to Will Stevens in 8th.
And in comes Louis Delatraz. I think he's done here. Richard de Gueras, meanwhile,
yes,
after the first sector, puts a 1/4 of a second on his own best time. So where's that come from?
And Fred Vesti's just done a good one through the first sector as well, a 25.7, but he's 3/10 off de Gueras' effort. If he can sustain this speed for Edex Sport in the Matra anniversary colours, car 28 already fastest by 26 thousandths of a second, but to save the blood pressure levels, Richard de Gueras wants to grow that gap a little more back to Ben Hanley, who's just done a personal best through sector 1. So over the line will go de Gueras. He does improve and extends the gap to a massive 79 thousandths of a second now.
But Ben Hanley's going quick on this lap as well. He can challenge here.
So Ben Hanley quicker. What about Fred Vesti?
We have at the moment 8 cars within 4/10 of a second.
Yeah.
That's how close it is.
So close. Looking out for car number 47 of Frederick Vesti. Does he vault his way up the order, about to finish
He
a
does.
lap?
Fourth quickest for Vesti.
It's a 2-place improvement.
Hanley is on a very quick lap indeed. He's 2/10 of a second up, and he's done that after sector 2, and that's what's been the tricky one.
Yeah.
If he can hold this together, if he's got a clear track in front of him, and he does, what can Ben Hanley do here? Could United Autosports grab pole position. He's coming through the final turn. There's 36 seconds to go. He'll get another go at this, and he goes to the top of the Toppingen scoring. It's a 1:28.0. He's 0.3 of a second up. Jim Maguire, now a co-owner of United Autosports, delighted with that.
Absolutely massive swing that in the favour of the Mancunian, though. We haven't seen many numbers in the first column after the decimal point, because it's just been zeros and mainly 2 zeros, the difference between the cars. But all of a sudden, 0.3 of a second very nearly is the gap from Hanley to Gieris.
And he's quicker again. He's a 1/10 and a half up. The pace is coming in very late in this session. Maybe they've got it right. Are we going to see more of these guys leaping up the field?
But Richard de Gieris has sliced the gap by 50%, a 1:28.224. So it's now only a 1/10 and a half that Ben Hanley has as his advantage. He may well need this extra lap to ensure he gets the pole.
Well. Watching what's going on here with Paul di Resta, watching Arthur Leclerc.
Watching Frederick Vesti, who sees the checkered flag and
third.
Improves again, so 4th to 3rd now for the Danish driver, but he won't go any further. Tom Dillman slotting into 4th, although Alex Lynn leaves it late for Algarve Pro Racing to go 3rd now as well. Still can't get close enough to Hanley and de Gieris' time occupying the front row.
Yeah, Luca Giotto puts in a time that's about 10 seconds ago would have been good enough for 3rd. It's now 6th.
How quickly things change. And it's all about that 1/4 of a second interval between the top 3 drivers. There's an absolute best for Ben Hanley again on this lap, we'll reiterate, but he's bailed out of it, hasn't he? Because he probably doesn't need it. And remember, these tyres will be needed in the race as well, so better not to absolutely tear them up to bits and conserve them where possible. Richard de Gieris will head for pit road as well, just missing out on the pole position and the point to kickstart the season for this year's European Le Mans Series race. Remember, 6 races, 6 qualifying sessions as we've just experienced. And Ben Hanley, although the clock has run out, the checkered flag's shown to virtually all the runners, and this was Jim Maguire's reaction to Ben Hanley on to pole position by, at the time, 0.3 of a second. In the end, it's 0.153, but that is more than plenty.
14 cars, including 5 first-timers in LMP2 this week. And the gap from the 14th car was less than 1.1 seconds.
A terrific reception from the other side of the track as well, with that assembled amount of fans that we've said have been pouring in from early this morning to be in position for the dramatic qualifying session. We've had 4 of them, remember, working our way through the new LMGT3 category, LMP3, LMP2 Pro-Am, and now the LMP2s. And top of a 14-car entry within that subcategory is the 22 car of United Autosports and Ben Hanley, who is so happy with that.
Well, United Autosports will be delighted. They lost out to Algarve Pro Racing last year and were not happy about that at all. You look back for the moments that cost them the championship, they will have felt should have been theirs, and they've started in the best way possible.
Philippe Ugran and Marino Sato, his teammates for this year. They've gone for the silver-gold combination, so Ugran being the silver driver that will have to do they all have to do a minimum of an hour, basically, in LMP2, and it's relatively simple whether you're in Pro-Am or in the standard class of LMP2. As long as you've done your 60 minutes somewhere within the 4-hour-long race tomorrow, that is job done. EDEX Sport very happy with their front row start as well. Nick Manassian was down there celebrating with the rest of the team from the family-run EDEX Sport, because they start more or less on a level playing field with United. It's just United have the ideal racing line going into turn 1 tomorrow at 11:30 in the morning. United Autosports with yet another pole position in the ELMS, a 1:28.0 for Ben Hanley, outpacing the EDEX Sport and Richard de Gieris driven car by just over a 1/10 and a half. It's Algarve Pro who will start 3rd after Alex Lynn's effort. Fred Vesti for Cool Racing ahead of his teammate Ritomo Miata, and Tom Dillman for Inter-Europol competition. Those cars from the Polish team will be staggered across rows 3 and 4, because Luca Giotto, 7th fastest ahead of Paul di Resta, Arthur Leclerc and Louis Delatraz. And again, they may have be sort of studying the data deep into tonight down at TF AO by TF to be giving it its official name. Confirmation that Iron Dames, at the start of this long qualifying period of the afternoon, managed to bag the first ever LMGT3 pole in the history of the European Le Mans Series. So we will obviously get some reaction heading into tomorrow's race later on in the weekend, because Ben Hanley will no doubt be doing a stint and then perhaps getting out to chat to Steph Wentworth once we're into the race itself. But it's job done for United Autosports. They can sleep happy now and prepare themselves for the 11:30 start tomorrow. We'll join you for all the build-up for the opener of the ELMS. Bye for now.